Look at this pasta alla Norma.
Lo spaghetti al pomodoro, signora, con il pomodoro che fa mia mamma.
What are you having now?
Pasta che modigo. That's the famous seppia, the cuttlefish.
Can we talk about pasta, the Italian staple food? In every Sicilian Italian household, you can definitely find all types of pasta dishes. We're going to talk about some of our favorite Sicilian dishes, then go through some of the cuts that are available in supermarkets in Sicily.
Pasta's been around for a long time. Some people say Marco Polo brought it over. I'm not that sure whether he did, but whatever. I thought it was some imported from Italian produce. But in any case, it's been around for a long time. Obviously, in today's economic conditions, where a kilo or 2.2 pounds of pasta can get stretched by a family simply by adding vegetables on it and a little bit of oil, is profoundly important and has been for time immemorial, Esther. Pasta.
I think pasta's been around since the Roman times, but let's go through some
Probably, wait a minute, probably. You know, the other thing though, what's fascinating about pasta is even in the Asian countries,
China,
in
some
Japan
say
and China,
noodles started
right,
there.
Right, so I mean, it's not just an Italian thing. Certainly, it's a European thing, and pasta is like one of the holy grails of culinary cuisine nowadays, it seems to me.
All right, in no particular order, here's our list of favorite Sicilian pasta dishes. And I'd be remiss if I don't start with pasta alla Norma, the famous Catania dish that is signature. You can get it macaroni or spaghetti. Either way, the important ingredients are the eggplant, the tomato sauce, and then you finish it off with basilico and ricotta salata. You can't put anything else on it. Don't even put Parmigiano Reggiano. It has to be ricotta salata. That's your pasta alla Norma.
Just backing up, when you buy pasta at the supermarket in the United States of America, be very careful what you buy. There are some very good dry pastas, which is what we're talking about today, dry pasta. I would suggest that you select something that is made from durum semolina as opposed to just wheat or flour, okay, especially flour. There's a lot of studies out there that says that durum semolina,
good advice.
it's a heavier grain. It's a heavier grain that actually has vitamin B in it, no fat, vitamin C. There's a lot of things that it has in it nutritionally that are a little bit better than the other ones, but the most important thing is that I'm saying it. No, I'm not. No.
All right,
folks here eat durum semolina pasta.
Stiamo facendo uno spaghetti al pomodoro, signora, con il pomodoro che fa mia mamma. Buon appetito.
Oh, you have to put more salsa, of course.
Eccolo qua.
Okay, another very popular one in Sicily is pasta sarde. That's with the sardines. And the important ingredients there are, again, you can have it with the macaroni, but the sardines and the pine nuts and the raisins make it really good. And then the fennel leaves. That is what makes it very, very special.
My opinion
Pasta con sarde.
My opinion about that particular dish, and also, to be honest with you, anything with anchovies in it, is the fish fresh? You know, fresh sardines that you can get over here or in other places. The taste flavor is a lot different than if you get it out of a can, in my opinion.
Right.
Same thing with the anchovies. If you get good anchovies, it's a lot different. But oil is critically important to both of them. Which one do you prefer out of those two?
Between the pasta alla Norma for sure. Especially because different people make it differently. Sometimes they'll put the eggplant on top as a condiment, or sometimes they'll cut it into cubes and have a lot of them in there. I like to have a lot of eggplant. Now, a little other version of that pasta alla Norma, thank you for asking me, is the pasta con melanzane, spada, and menta. Typical Sicilian eggplant and swordfish and la pasta. That's the pasta with cubes of swordfish, cubes of melanzane, which is eggplant, and mint. Notice, fennel leaves, mint. The Sicilians are so good about adding that one little thing that brings the flavor to a whole different place.
You happen to like a lot of the fish dishes, don't you? Are there any other pastas, for example, that you like with fish in them?
Well, you can get the pasta with the vongole, with the frutta di mare and different dishes, but you can get that all over Italy. I do have to say that when you get the vongole, which is the clams and the mussels and the pasta, it's so fresh because it comes from right here in the sea, so it's especially good.
If
Now,
you're going
how
to,
about-
wait a minute, I want to just continue
Yeah.
this. Right. If you're going to do shell stuff, like you just talked about, then, like clams, for example, all right? Any type of clams, then it's, what kind of pasta will you use? You're not going to use the penne or the risotto, rigatoni. You're going to use some type of long, flat pasta, all right?
This is
From
spaghetti.
a 1, I mean, they're by numbers, from a 0, 0, 1.
All right, Al, so this, for example, is a number 5. How does that work?
Okay, the numbers start from, really from 0, 0, okay? I mean, that's very, very thin pasta. When you put it in, literally in several quick minutes, it's going to be cooked. And by the way, when you cook pasta, any kind of pasta, short or long cuts, the kiss of death is to put the water on and then put the pasta in. You have to wait until the water, I call it an angry boil, literally is boiling away, and then you put your salt in there. We prefer to use a coarse salt.
Sea salt. Now, do you put,
Sea salt.
some people put olive oil, other people don't, so it's up to you. And one
Yeah.
more thing, don't even think of breaking this in half and putting it into boiling water. You put it in, and with a spoon, slowly massage it into the water. It'll get in there in 30 seconds. All right, let's move on
Well, wait a
to
minute.
another pasta
I just wanted
dish.
to talk
Yes.
about fish with this stuff over here too, okay?
Why don't
Now-
you talk about the nero di seppia?
That's the famous seppia, the cuttlefish. That's made with tomato sauce and the little ink, the squid, the little sack of it, and then there's also pieces of cuttlefish.
Okay, two funky dishes made with some type of a long spaghetti would be pasta with nero di seppia, the cuttlefish with the ink on it, which happens to be one of my favorites. That's one of the only dishes that, in my view, you're allowed to put any type of cheese on it.
What?
Some people put, yeah, I
What?
just recently saw.
No
I
grated
saw
cheese
some
on
peop-
fish pasta.
Not grated cheese, ricotta salata. I've seen people do that. I don't, okay? I
Just
never,
to
on
set
any of
the
them,
record.
clam shots, pasta with scampi, with shrimps, none of them I ever put any type of grated cheese, but this is the one that I'll say, okay, every once in a while you could do that. So, and the other one is ichi, the sea urchins. The sea urchins are another delicacy. So there are all different types of fishes that go wonderfully with the long
All
cut
types of
pastas. Yeah.
pasta. All types of
Yeah.
pasta. So now you talked about fish. Now let's talk about, here in Sicily, the vegetables are abundant. So all types of pastas with vegetables, for instance, now tenerumi, I believe it's very, very popular. Or pasta with broccoli, pasta with cauliflower. We talked about economic problems right now, and vegetables are a great way to add to your pasta and also have some kind of nutrition. So right now, pasta con tenerumi, everyone's having that, pasta con tenerumi.
There are two ways on the pasta with broccoli or the pasta with cauliflower. Her and I kind of differ a little bit. I don't like the stalks. What I do is I cut off and just get the blossoms there, the top part of the cauliflower or the top part of the broccoli. I like it better that way. And I like to make that in kind of like a soup. You could have it two ways, obviously. If you're going to have it the traditional way, then you maybe want to soften it first.
Parboil.
In water, strain it, and then put in oil and garlic, and because it's already softened, and salt and pepper, or even a little bit of hot pepper flakes, and use that as a topping, the whole thing with the oil and everything, for your pastas. Those are two terrific ways.
Now here's a
Wait a minute, let me finish, please.
Okay.
If you're going to do it, however, in another way, say for example you want to make, my mother used to make pasta with broccoli, or pasta che broccoli, that's what she would say it. It was like a Thursday meal. She would make it with a lot of water, in kind of like a soup form, where she would boil the broccoli in the water.
Yeah.
And then afterwards,
Use that water.
and then put the pasta in afterwards, and that would soften everything up. And actually, the the water would actually turn like a little bit green.
Green, yeah.
And you put salt and pepper and cheese in that.
And then you talk about all types of vegetables, also fagiolini. You can get pasta with the beans. Now, here's a little fun fact for you. Now, a lot of Sicilians still put breadcrumbs on top of their pasta. Where did that come from?
I'll tell
Pasta
you where.
con mulica. When there was vast poverty here in Sicily, they couldn't afford cheese. So, instead of cheese, they came up with browning breadcrumb on a pan, and that gave it a little bit of flavor. But to this day, pasta con mulica,
Mudiga in Sicilian.
Mudiga in Sicilian is used very often.
What are you having now? Pasta che mudiga, with parsley in it, breadcrumbs, little garlic, and olive oil.
Let me quickly tell you my household version of that. Pasta che mudiga.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the Italian version, I guess, is putanese, named after the prostitutes. Putana. Okay, putanese sauce, which was a quick sauce that the prostitutes would make between clients, so to speak. But really, all it is olive oil in a pan, garlic, salt and pepper, all right? Now, here's where it kind of diverges with the, say for example, anchovies, all right? You put the anchovies in there. And by the way, you take a fork, if you're going to take an anchovy, and you kind of mix them up if it's done well, and the anchovy dissipates, okay? Then you put it on your pasta.
Now, some people take out the garlic clove and just do it
no,
for
I'm
flavoring.
saying, we'll talk about garlic in just a second, but here's what I'm saying about the mudiga. There are two ways to do it. The way I prefer is to brown it separately on the side with 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a separate pan, and then you put the breadcrumbs in there till they're golden brown. A little bit of salt and pepper, okay, golden brown, and then reserve it to the side. And then after you get your mixture with your pasta, you put it on top. Or you could just put it in and fold it in with the other way that I just talked about. For me, I don't like it that way. I like it a little bit drier.
But don't forget, if you make the pasta, right, you make the pasta separately, make sure you save a little bit of a cup of the pasta water and put it in with it, because that really adds to the flavor. Okay, so now let me talk to you. These are a little bit some of the locals. Let me do one more, a very simple pasta, and that's pasta aglio olio. Couldn't be simpler. In a pan, you make your pasta in a pan. You put the garlic, salt, pepper, and hot pepper flakes, olive oil. You take the water from the pasta that you made, just a half a cup, add it in there, put the pasta, mix it all together, and yes, finish it off with Parmigiano Reggiano. You couldn't get more simple and flavorful. You've got the garlic, you've got the hot pepper flakes, you've got the flavors, the starchy water of the pasta, and then you finish it off with a Parmigiano Reggiano.
I think a nice presentation for almost all pastas, by the way, that we've mentioned so far is chopped parsley. I think
Thank you, you're right.
chopped parsley on or olive oil-based pastas, and also all your fish-based
You're right,
the
you're
shrimp
right.
scampi, the clams, and so forth, is another great thing.
Typical Trapanese food with the pesto. Looks great. Busiate a Trapanese. That's from Trapani. That's a very specialty. It's a macaroni type of a cut. It's very particular to that area. It's called busiate. That is very typical of the Trapani province.
Allora abbiamo dei caserecci di pasta fresca con pesto di pistacchio di Bronte.
Now those are the pastas that are popular here in Sicily. Now people often ask, do people have spaghetti and meatballs? Well, let me answer that. You probably will not find it in a restaurant here in Sicily, but that is what Grandma makes every Sunday. So the spaghetti with meatballs, or the spaghetti with the sausage, spaghetti with the sugu, which is the mix of sausage, meatballs. We have a whole video on that, on how to make that, in our playlist under Foods of Sicily. And those are some of the basic pastas. Now, I'm going to tell you what the majority of everyday Sicilian has for lunch. Listen to this. they'll have the pasta or spaghetti al pomodoro. Simple. They take some kind of a tomato, they boil it or part boil it, then they have the little machine that you squash or crunch or crush the tomatoes. You take that, you mix it with the pasta, salt, pepper, Parmigiano cheese, and that's it. Some even don't even grind it and just have the fresh tomatoes with them. Simplicity in the Sicilian cuisine is unbelievable.
I want to go back a little bit and talk about Nana's Ragu. Or we used to call it sugu back in the States, where you'd have a big pot on a Sunday, and to this date, millions of people still do this every Sunday, where you've got 3 or 4 cans of tomatoes, you've got paste, you've got water, EVOO, salt and pepper, and then you've got the meatballs that have been made on the side by Nana, which basically are salt, pepper, parsley, and breadcrumbs. And some people...
Parmesan cheese?
Parmesan cheese. Some people brown them on the outside and then put them into their sauce. Other people don't do that. Other people put them in raw. There's a big... Well, 50-50, yeah.
And the sausage too. There's,
well, wait a minute.
Let me brown all of that first to give
finish.
it, make sure that they stay together in the sauce.
Right. Let me finish. Well, the second meat, so to speak, would be sausage. Okay. Yeah. And you typically in my household we browned both of them, both the meatballs and also the sausage. My grandmother, to make you gotta laugh when I say this. My grandmother used to put a piece of pig's feet, a pig.
Oh, they do that here, Al.
Pig feet, right.
Oh, they do that here, of course.
And she used to say it sweetens the sauce, and the other, or she would put some chicken in there, but nobody ever liked the chicken. But they would eat, I could still remember my grandmother gnawing on the inside of the pig's feet. Believe me, it was like crazy. But the sauce is good. To me, because of the acidity in the tomatoes, however, I always put a teaspoon of sugar in there to cut it.
A lot of people do.
The Dutch don't do that. The Dutch put in a few pieces of carrots and then take them out. But I don't particularly care about that. But that's a good. The sugo is very versatile, but it's not served on top of the pasta. It's really served as a secondo. So you'll have the pasta dish first, and then the secondo would be the meat. That's how.
That's right.
That's exactly how they do it. A first and a second course. So, and then of course beforehand, I still want to talk about soups. I want to talk about soups right now, and that's a good soup. First of all, let me quickly talk about the pasta cuts in soup, and there are many. I know in the United States, one of them, there was a major manufacturer discontinued pastina.
That was a big emergency.
They're not even are they an Italian company that did that? All right, because first of all, pastina is readily available. Okay, those are the small little ones, and then you have other ones that are small, like the pasta with the stars. I like this one over here, the one that's shaped like. It's like, I don't know, what is it shaped like, Esther?
I don't know, like a pinoli.
Because
it's called a pinoli.
Right, okay. I happen to like those. Now, let me tell you about soup pastas, okay? And here's another one. Here's the granddaddy of them all right here. What's that called, honey?
This one's the Ditali.
Ditali, okay. You have to be very careful when you make your soups. I don't care what soup it is. Mm-hmm. If you are going to make a single portion or a double portion that you're going to eat that day, it's permissible to put the smaller cuts in the pasta water and boil it together. However, if you're going to be making a big pot of soup, all right, like maybe today, Wednesday, and Friday, you eat 3 times next week, and you try to put Ditali and do the same method, what'll happen is, by the time you go into the refrigerator, it's all expanded. So I think that anything past the stage of the small little pastinas should be cooked separately. Then after it's cooked and drained, if you want to put them in the pasta per serving, like what Esther does is we usually do it by serving. So she'll put the pasta, a little bit of pasta, in the bowl first, the serving bowl, and then put the pasta or the vegetables or the soups, inside of that. That's a delicious way to have the soup. And then if there's leftover pasta, guess what? that could be reheated the next time. So it's not gonna,
Yeah.
right? Am I
Yep.
correct in saying that?
Listen, I know that some of you guys may have your own pasta recipes, and I want to hear all about it. Have you guys ever tried any of the pastas we've mentioned on this? Of course, we didn't mention all of the pastas, there's many others, but I'm curious to know what you guys have. I'm sure you have, a lot of people do the Sunday sugu or ragu or however you want to call it, but have you guys ever had the pasta con sarde, pasta alla Norma? All of these are very important pasta dishes.
I have a couple of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, Esther mentioned you never break spaghettis, long spaghettis, in half before you put them in. There is an exception to that rule.
What?
Is what my mom used to do this all the time when she'd go to the cupboard before my dad went food shopping on the weekend, and there was nothing small to make for her soup. She would take the spaghetti, and break them into little
So
pieces.
basically, she made some of this.
And then she would put them in a mapina. A mapina would be like a table
Hand dry.
hand
A
thing
dish
to- right.
dryer.
And then she'd get her rolling pin,
That's hilarious.
and she'd roll it. No, I'm serious. And she would make, right. So half the time in my life, I think I probably had, original that you buy. And then the other thing. And then, the other things that we didn't talk about, there's a couple of specialty pastas. One is the ones that look like a nest. They're in a bigger bag, and they look like a bird's nest, okay? And typically those are about $2 to $3.99, maybe $4.99 a bag. They're very good. People always get confused about the serving size, and the answer is you want to give it two nests to an average eater, 3 nests if it's a big eater, okay? But the key to making those nests, so to speak, is a lot of water, okay? A lot of water. Now, you can't put it in a half a thing of water, and that's another interesting thing.
Well,
Esther.
before you do
water.
that,
Wait a minute.
Wait a sec.
Let's
Before
talk
you
about
do
the
that,
water first.
Before you do
Okay,
that,
I want to talk about the
when you
water.
talk about that particular pasta, there's dozens and dozens of pasta cuts. We have a shop here in Via Grande. There's at least 30 to 40 types of pasta.
52 pastas. There are 52 pastas. Yeah. The other ones that I was going to say, besides what I was talking about, is the whole different types of lasagna pastas, which are the flat ones, which you can boil and layer them, or they have the self-baked ones. In America, they have the self-baked ones.
Here they do not
They do
have
not
the same.
have that. I think that's a deportable offense here in Italy.
Anyway.
But that's a very popular meal. Lasagna
Yeah,
is a very vegetable lasagna.
all types of meat
Right.
lasagna.
Right.
We just scratched the surface. We know that, and maybe we'll do another video of some more unheard pasta dishes. Before we go on, guess what? I bought a cello this week. I used to play when I was a teenager in high school. I played in all-town orchestra. I played in the school orchestra, and I picked it up. And so far, I'm not quite ready to show you and play for you, but mark my words, by Christmas, I'll have something for you.
Can you please do me a favor on today's video, because this will be watched by thousands of people on the YouTube and on our other stations that stream our stuff. If you make a pasta dish this week or Sunday or whenever you can make, can you do me a favor, take a photo and post it in the comments? And better still, if you're so
Email
nice,
it to me.
if you're so nice, also post the recipe that goes along with it so others can have it. Okay, I think it's a good thing that the community shares some of their stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so take a picture, post it right here, and also put a quick recipe down, and we'll give you a wonderful prize. I don't know exactly what it is.
We'll
but
figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. We got it in just before this huge windstorm. I'm going to show you our view in just a second. But first, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting our channel. And of course, we'll see you next week. Same exact time, same exact bad channel.
Not
Via
me.
Sicily.
I'm going to the States tomorrow.
You'll see him.
But I'll be here somehow. But I'm going to go to the States for the first. I go twice a year, and tomorrow's the day. I'm looking forward to it. No Italian food, though.
All right, arrivederci. Ciao. Take a look at this. Oh, now, of course, the wind dies down. exactly what I'm trying to show you guys. But boy, did you hear that howling? There's our clothes drying. Ciao!